Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the meeting. Um, Stephanie in Ames, Iowa here. I, uh, I, I thought I'd share with everyone. I saw an interesting thing in the Des Moines Register. It was from yesterday. Our we had it. Was it a mayor? I think it was a mayor. Yeah, a mayor in Iowa City defied our governor and insisting everyone wear masks or that they could get like a misdemeanor. And the governor does not agree with that. So we'll see how that shakes out. But thought that was pretty interesting. Um, that's about it. Actually, that's about what I have. Um, I'm personally doing okay. um, and let's see. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Ursula. How Ames is doing or how KHOI is doing.
No, we're just, where there's work being done on the building and we're having problems. The workmen don't want to wear masks.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty worried about it because we really do have people in the building that are really vulnerable. And it's just weird that, they just don't want to do it. And they were like, well, we don't agree. The project manager, he's like, the company that's managing the renovations, he's like, well, I don't really believe in masks. It's like, I really don't care what you believe, dude. I just don't want people to get sick in this building. So yeah, I hear that the Iowa City is in Johnson County, and the Johnson County Board of Supervisors are voting today, I think, to go along with what Iowa City did. But I have a feeling that Iowa City will lose. I think it'll probably be contested, and I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can really.
There was another town that tried to do that and they lost.
Yeah.
For which town? Yeah.
I mean, Iowa City is the other big university town in Iowa, but they are a bigger community, and they are not so completely financially. Their economy doesn't depend as much on the university as Ames does. Ames pretty much depends almost entirely on Iowa State University. So Ames is not going to go up against the state. They're just not going to do it.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah. We're doing kind of a cool thing tonight. We're having there's been a pop-up exhibit that was organized where African American artists have been displaying in store windows downtown, and we're doing a roundtable tonight on the air and on Facebook with the artists. That's kind of cool. I have a phone call, so I'm going to mute.
Elizabeth, you want to go next?
Okay. Things are okay here. We're following our governor's mandate, so we're okay. It's easy for that. We have a little disruption beginning to take down statues, which has been a real hot button issue in the city. We have a big statue of Junipero Serra sort of right in front of City Hall. And it's, every picture of Ventura has this damn sculpture in it, statue in it. And they voted to take it down. City council did, huge dispute. And people are going to file legal action, but they're going to remove it and put it in storage. There's also another one inside City Hall, which they're going to remove and put in storage. So that's kind of been the big thing, lots of people calling into city council, hundreds of people calling in for comments. And so that's sort of what went down last week. They're taking it down. Actually, they took it down this morning. So we have a crew, guy with a drone and a crew filming it because it's such a big freaking deal. Aside from that, I know I was mentioning to Sharon, there's a Mixtico radio station in Oxnard. And right now they're having a huge problem with COVID. Really bad in the farm workers camps. But I did talk to them about getting involved with GRC. And I think right now is not a good time for them to look at that commitment. But he did ask an interesting question, because most of them don't speak English, if we were going to have any sessions in Spanish. And I thought that might be a good way to bring in Spanish language radio stations, because there are quite a few of them. We have one in Santa Barbara, and a lot of people with non-Spanish speaking stations may want to participate. So that's something we may want to think about, even just a get together for them, because I'm sure they're, well, like the native stations, they're kind of split apart. They don't have this sort of structure where people can get together. So
Nice, yeah.
yeah. And they're really run on a shoestring through the indigenous organization there, who are very active throughout the community. So they're really great voice. So
Yeah, it'd be great to have them more involved.
so that's kind of what happened here.
You want to pass it to somebody?
Sure, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. That's a great idea.
Reason I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me?
I can hear Sharon. I can hear you, Alicia. Can you hear me? Maybe not.
Maybe your volume somehow. Zoom is so weird like that. Sometimes the audio is troublesome.
We'll see if I go to the chat.
Okay. So I'm Sharon Scott with WXOX LP in Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's a great idea about involving more Spanish speakers in the Grassroots Radio Conference. I think that's a wonderful idea. We have a few Spanish radio programs here, so I could get the.
I'll check.
You know, I hear you, Alicia.
Okay.
Anyway, so that'd be great to get them involved, and I think that's a great idea to do maybe a session or two in Spanish and a more casual opportunity for them to socialize as well for Spanish speakers. That's great. And Alicia maybe could help with that too.
Okay, I got it now.
You got it? Okay.
Oh, hey, okay.
I don't
Good.
know what I did. I think you did something over at that end.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. Okay.
Works.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, glad you could make it.
Oh, I know. It's been so crazy the last few times. I haven't been able to make it. I'm glad I'm here.
Well, Elizabeth was just talking about Spanish-speaking radio stations, and that was really good timing that you just came in just now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to, get some things happening with the GRC involving more Spanish language programming at the conference. So definitely would love to talk to you about that.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. That
So
would be great.
yeah,
I
that'd be
like your haircut, Ursula.
So in Louisville, we're pretty, kind of holding steady here. Protesting is continuing every day for the Breonna Taylor case. We still haven't seen any justice whatsoever. One out of the three main police officers has been fired. The other two remain on the force. And more details are coming out about just how horrible it was. And so that case is getting very interesting, and now the mayor seems to be involved in a kind of gentrification project. So it's the details are starting to come out, but it's still very heated here. We've got the NFAC coming to town in 2 days. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Not Fucking Around Coalition, but they are coming with lots of guns, which, I think there's many other solutions before you have to go picking up the guns. And I know it's symbolic and it's trying to be a kind of counter to the Second Amendment protesters, the right-wing protesters. But, that's kind of terrifying to me that they're coming here, and the police are really gearing up for that. Like today they boarded up the police department. So I think they're expecting some violence. So our station is still remote broadcasting. All our DJs are at home. very just really taking this whole situation very seriously, addressing Black Lives Matter and the systematic racism that exists in radio and in music and in art that we particularly deal with. So while we're not a hard-hitting news station,
15 seconds.
we're dealing with these issues in other cultural and artistic ways, and it's really been some of the most powerful radio I've been involved with in my life. But hope at the same time, I'm ready for it to go back to kind of more easygoing times. But we'll see. So thank you. Great to be here.
Okay, and then pass it on.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let's go to Alicia.
Oh, hi. Okay. So, yeah, over at KBBF, I think the same things are, I mean, we're still doing a lot of the programming and like I mentioned before, in Spanish, English, and normally in about three indigenous languages, but it's mostly two of them, Triqui and Mixteco. Once in a while, we'll have Chatino, but it's not as often. We're carrying a lot of information on four major, subjects, I guess you could say. Is we're still doing a lot of census work, the COVID, Black Lives Matter, and police brutality with that. And right now we're starting again with fire, preparing, resources for how to prepare for, we assume we're gonna get hit again by fires, and we've been in the last few years, and so we're doing that. That's basically our broadcasting that we do. Sometimes we do special programming on that, but most of our public affairs programming covers those four subjects. I just had a Zoom meeting with the programmers. Some of them are coming into our office, to the station. I'm not going there as much, neither is Edgar. We try to time it so there's only one of us there at the office just for a little bit, and try not to have more than other people involved, and it's close to the public. But the programmers, some of them are coming in, not all of them. But we at least have critical public affairs programmers, or ones that do talk shows. They are coming in, and so that's really wonderful that they're doing just great programs. Anyway, I had a Zoom meeting with the programmers, and it was really good. They were really happy. They felt that I should have had one sooner. One person expressed that 3 months was too long not seeing each other, and so they wanted us to have them at least once a month, and we're going to do that, the programming and meetings, and they were very good. And I had to, one of the things I have to always emphasize with them is that they got to make sure that they write their topics on, we have a daily report that they got to do what topics they covered, and a description of their
15
program.
seconds.
Their program. And so anyway, I had to make sure to tell them that was so important, because I had to show evidence for grantors and for the FCC that we are doing all this kind of programming, that I can't be listening 24 hours to the radio. But anyway, so no, things are going good here with us. Everybody seems to be doing good so far,
Good. I'll pass it on for you since you came in kind of
Oh, yes.
middle. Vertical, how are you doing? Can you are you able to talk? Maybe
She has unmute.
Are you there, Vertical? We'll come back. Who else? Julie.
Sure, I'll pop on video and introduce myself. This is I didn't go video because I have COVID hair and I'm trying to fit in some lunch. This is a part-time volunteer gig for me. KMRE is, so I'm fitting this on my lunch break today. This is really exciting to be able to join this, so thank you. Our station, I'm assuming many of you have never heard of us. We're a very small operation in Bellingham, Washington. And we are mostly automated, and anything that was going live is now pre-recorded. Our studio is now back open to some producers. You know, we have cleaning protocols in place, but social distancing is in effect. So the times when we might have an artist interview in studio or a band play in studio, those are all shut down. So we've had to adapt and I'd say lower my quality standards during this time for audio production. And with our very limited team, we're focused on, we have a series called KMRE Coronavirus Stories, where we've had community people come in and interview others around the impact of the pandemic on our local community, whether it's schools or arts organizations. And we've got almost 20 episodes of that right now. And that's been, I'd say, fairly well received in the community. And then there's a lot of talk around Black Lives Matter. And our local Bellingham Police Force has also created a series called Police Perspectives, and we are airing that as well. So we're taking part in some of that. Bellingham is a pretty mellow, crunchy college town, and so our activity locally has been more in the peaceful rally type scene. Not that people aren't riled up, but that's kind of the vibe we have now. So our goal, again, that we don't truly have a staff, is to really be that platform and invite the community in and amplify their voice. So I try to do all that and fit that in with my day job. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thanks, Julia. I appreciate you. I see that Joseph has joined us. Joseph, do you want to say how it's going for you? Oh, I see his picture's changing. Oh, there he is. You're muted, Joseph. Joseph, you're muted. There you go.
Okay, now I'm there now.
Okay,
Yeah,
can you speak a little closer to the microphone?
Let me try this. Is that better right there? Hello? Okay.
Okay.
I'm here. Pass on. Thank you.
Oh, was that it?
Anybody-
Okay. All right. Well, super. I think that's everyone for now. So we'll save last but not least Davine, and then she can roll into her Alexa and Echo presentation. I don't know what happened to William. He was going to talk today too, but anyway, well, we can talk about Alexa and Echo and just spitball from there, I suppose. So take it away, Davine.
Hey, everybody. So Asheville has made national news again in that our city council passed a resolution to give reparations to our local Black community. And needless to say, it has sent some people into an absolute head-spinning tizzy. But and it's going to be a long process. I think that they're going to try to, in part, well, they're going to set up a committee. We're really good about setting up committees here and paying consultants hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure something out. But so it's in the process. We're expecting the stormtroopers to come here because we have a major monument in downtown Asheville that has been covered up. It actually looks like a penis covered in black plastic. It's about 50 or 60 feet high, and they've put a scaffold around it, and they have covered it with black plastic. And they've taken away a General Lee commemoration, and they've removed a couple of the Daughters of the Confederacy monuments. So we're one of those ultra liberal sort of progressive cities in the South. So at the station, we are practicing heavy sanitizing protocol, but we are letting people come in. We have strict protocols in place. I have a security camera so that I know when they come in, they are using the hand sanitizer. The building requires that they come in with masks. We have a sneeze guard. We do have space enough in our studio that a host can be 6 feet away from a guest. So one of our hosts is bringing in musicians, and we're really glad to have that back. And he generally live streams that to social media. So we have to show on social media while it's streaming live that we're following protocol, suggested protocol from the state and from the CDC. So on Alexa and things like that, because you can be on Alexa, you can be on the Apple speaker, and do other people here follow Spark News at all? I think I ran into it from Prometheus, but they had an article yesterday about the trend towards these external speakers and ways to listen to radio over and above radio, and the trend is raising. And so the advantage of doing something on Alexa is, first of all, it doesn't cost anything, and you have another way of sending your signal out. You do, because anytime you're going out on the internet, you have to pay Sound Exchange. So we're covered with that. And since we're paying $500 a year for it, we want to get as much internet exposure out there as possible. We figure we're doing 8,000 to 10,000 hours a month in internet listening, based on the tracking that we get from IceCast and Shoutcast. So, and for some reason, we have a bunch of listeners in Germany, and we got a complaint yesterday in the mail, which we were thrilled about, from Atlanta, that our schedule need to be updated, because Ralph Nader played at 9 instead of 10 that we had on the schedule. So we have been working on our schedule this past week or past month, and sure enough, Ralph was not in the right spot. And so I'm going to be writing him back and say, thank you so much for your wonderful complaint. So I'm going to switch to sharing my screen. So what you need to do is you have, Alexa has something called a blueprint. So that means you can fairly simply set up a skill. They call them skills. You can set up one of their skills using this blueprint. So what I'm going to do is, let me get my screen showing here, is, let me see. Well, so do you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so what I did was Alexa Skills Radio Blueprint. Those are the keywords that I used. And sure enough, the top two in both of these I've used, University is a skill and Worship Radio is a skill. So then that takes you to their Alexa's page, and you're going to you're going to choose either University or the church one. I've used both, and this is how it's going to look. So I don't know if you can see that. Is that visible?
Oh, your phone? Sort of.
Yeah. So those are the two skills that we've got, and one of them is, and we tell Alexa, Alexa, play Radio Asheville. And then the other one is we tell them, play WPVM 1037 or the voice of Asheville. So and so when I say that, you can check it on your phone. And when I say that, I'm confused here because now my screen is not showing anymore, my desktop screen. Because you should all be able to see whenever I went to Blueprints on Alexa that this university screen showed up. So let me see. Can you all see my screen?
I can see the university screen.
Okay, good. So then the first thing you need to do is capture your URL, your live stream URL, whether it's on Shoutcast or Icecast. So it's going to check, and it has to be that HTTPS one, not just the HTTP. So what you're gonna follow the steps here that they give you, the prompts. The main thing you need is to put in, have your stream that they're going to accept with the HTTPS. Then you're going to name your skill. Then you're going to upload your logo. And then you're going to go, and these are the skills that I've made. And I made some last year, and just to test to make sure it still was working that way with the Blueprints, I did another one just to be safe that I knew that it was happening. So you can see I did it started on in June 30th of 2020. So basically that's it. It's not that difficult to do. And then if you've got Alexa on your phone, you can say, Alexa, play the voice of Asheville. Alexa, play Radio Asheville. And there's our station.
Yeah, okay, I can hear that.
So that's how it goes. Alexa, stop. I like being able to tell Alexa orders like stop. So that's how you do it. And so we also have an app that is uploaded to both iTunes and Google Play. And so these other methods are, you know, what we use to help people outside of our area. So here you can see we've got online radio right here on the right. And then as you scroll down, more ways to listen to WPVM. So we give them the info to go and listen ever how they want to, whether it's on Siri. When you tell Siri to play WPVM, it does pull in TuneIn's link to our station. But on my phone, I've got our own application that is on iTunes and Google Play. So any questions?
I have a question about, that's great. We were exploring it, so I think it's easy to set up the skill. I think what's interesting that I learned is that you should create numerous ones. So we're on my tuner radio, but because we couldn't get into TuneIn anymore. But I'm looking to do an app as well. So if it's good today or another time to get an idea of, you know, how to do an app? Is there an easy way, or do you have to hire someone?
Well, so I started off with Nobix Partners. Noblix, is it Nobix or Noblix? And then they started, I wasn't happy with it because you just kind of plug in your information, and then they do all of the setup and get it uploaded. But what I do have is this one now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it, and then
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a little menu here, so it'll give you some info there. And this one is from a company in Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's $480 a year for them to host the app, upload it, and keep it rolling. So they have templates, and what you do is you key in your colors and your logo and everything else that you want it to do. And that's how it looks.
Okay.
So I can send the information of the company that I use, but there should be others around, and it's probably going to be $400 to $500 for someone to do it for you. I'm pretty good on Photoshop and online graphics. So I do have Adobe's ZD that you can use to create the screens for all of your apps. But I get into it, and I'm not that naive or not that new to it, but it starts getting very confusing. So that's why I just went ahead and let use the application, the template instead.
Does anybody else have an app here? Any of the stations have apps?
So
No, but it's on our agenda for this year.
all of the young people, they're not listening to the radio. They're doing apps and stuff on their phone. A lot of them don't even have computers anymore. They just have their phone.
We have an app, and we just have some guys who are willing to, who are more technologically minded and were willing to get in and try to figure it out. And one guy did it through Apple, the Apple developer. So you have to become a part, you pay $100 to Apple to be a part of their developer program. And then I believe he found some sort of template type thing that was an audio player, and then just customized that. Unfortunately, he's now lost that code because I've had stations ask if we could share it, and he's lost the code and is a very busy individual, and basically said he'd have to redo it again to get the code together. So, but he has promised to try to do a workshop on that at the GRC when that happens. So, and then another fellow that's more into PCs was able to develop a very simple app as well. I have no idea how, but he really just wants to be very humble and say he's just a guy who figured it out, but he is willing to help stations, through that process if they're interested. So I could definitely put you in touch with him. But ours is really simple, probably much more simple than Davine's. This one's, no?
Maybe not.
It looks, my background might make it impossible for you to see. But anyway, WXOX in the App Store. And it's just a simple player when it comes up, and you've got an extra volume control and a link to our website, and that is pretty much it. But people like it mainly because there's no ads or anything. And it's been very reliable. We've not had any trouble with it, so knock on wood.
That's what I didn't like about Nobix, because they put ads up, and then we got complaints from some of our people listening because it was kind of a right-wingy kind of ad that played, and they were like, I thought this was a progressive station. But you do, on this one that I used, you do have to set up your own developer account with iTunes. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with other application templates, but it's $100 and they renew it every year.
And don't forget to renew that, because we've been in the middle of our big annual live event, and all of a sudden our app wasn't working. And
Yeah.
couldn't, and then I spent the whole event trying to figure out why the app isn't working. I never could figure it out until a couple days later, I got an email from Apple. It's like, so anyway, just to stay on top of that.
Good call. Good call.
With the things you learn by doing all this.
Guys, I apologize, but I have to leave. I have a appointment with my sister in the hospital, so I'm going to cut out. But before I leave, I just wanted to mention that, when we had that conversation about the GRC, there were a bunch of people from the Radio for People group that wanted to be part of it, and I noticed that they send the request to me, and so they all didn't get to do that, and they're disappointed. So I'm wondering whether in the near future we'd like to maybe set up a call where we talk about GRC, and I think there were a few other things that people wanted to talk to Radio for People about that had to do with legal issues. Do I remember that correctly? Nobody remembers.
I remember I was thinking about getting in touch with Michael Richards to do like a Ask a Lawyer episode of the Roundtable. Is that what you mean?
It might be, yeah, it might, well, it might be. I mean, we talked about, there were some questions about legal questions and FCC questions. Like, so I don't remember what it was. And so I said, well, yeah, I think the Radio for People folks could come by. So I think maybe, I just want to put that out there. You don't have to decide now, but maybe if you guys could decide if that would be a good idea in the near future. I think a bunch of the Radio for People folks really would like to weigh in on the GRC.
Okay.
I'm just putting it on the table, it's my decision, but.
So I was hoping to have a meeting like that, and it could either be through this forum or through another forum, but I would like to bring in, we have a meeting next week with our staff where we're going to be working out some logistics, but after that, I would definitely be open to, opening it up to a wider crew and seeing, what input they have as well. I know there's a lot of great people.
It's your call, Sharon. I mean, okay. If you want to do it on this format, it's okay with me. I don't know if it's okay with Stephanie, but it's okay with me, because then
sure, of course,
a bit of other people on the network in the conversation. But it's up to you. But just to let you know, I know that Betty wanted, Peter Gray, Jim Ellinger. There were a bunch of them that kind of were like, well, I wanted to go to that meeting. So,
we could go ahead and set it up for a couple weeks from now if you want to do that.
How do you guys feel about that? I mean, that fit your schedule, Sharon?
Yeah, I think that should be good. Yeah. Can you give me just, because I would like to also see if some of my key people could be, some of our station key people could be. So if you could just give me, a day or two on that, let me check with them, see if they'll be available.
Okay, I'll wait to confirm that till we know from you.
Okay. Shoot me a reminder too if you don't hear from me in a day or two, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And I would love to ask some legal questions. So I got a bunch of them. So if that's that session, probably another session, because I know a lot of those people are really well versed. So
Ursula, are you saying the Radio for People would be a separate meeting that they have a knowledge, expertise in legal stuffs?
I was thinking maybe you could do both at the same time. You could have some time for those questions and then talk about the GRC. I don't know if I could convince any of the lawyers in Radio for People to agree to like an hour or an hour and a half question and answer period, because it's really, what they do for a living.
We
So
can't charge them
I don't know if
$800.
you can ask for that much
Are
time,
they?
that much of their time for legal advice. But I think if you combined it with other things, I think they would go along with that. I think.
Okay. Should I contact them or are you gonna contact them?
I can. Just let me know, Stephanie, what you're planning, and then I'll let them.
Okay. I'll see what Sharon says and then I'll tell you what I say and then we'll.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
I just have a question for the week. And I have to go in a minute, but this is my question as a manager. Like, what is the best way to say to one and maybe two people, yes, I know that other person is being an asshole, but just let it go. What is the one, and just like, please stop fighting. What is a way to say that actually works and doesn't keep it going? That's my question. Just asking.
We keep them separated. Just like that's the way we stop drama is we had a whole bunch of drama at the beginning whenever we first got involved, and we figured out that radio was a magnet for drama.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God. Issues.
so we keep everybody separated. That's how we do it. And that keeps the drama way down.
Desperate measures.
Rarely do anybody where we have the luxury of saying, I schedule when the shows happen, and we really try not to let anybody cross paths.
That's hilarious. So like you're down with the silos.
Yeah. Silos. And that works.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I have 3 producers who are all women who want to do female women related shows. And one of them is like, this is my thing. And it's like, I got to let you know, there are lots of shows about women, about lots of different issues, you know, the whole monopoly on it. So
Women are the worst. Women, they can keep it going for years.
You know, in KBBF, what used to be, I don't know what kind of problems, but when I came on about 10 years ago, there would be a point where it's some the programmer before would pull some plugs, and I didn't know anything about radio, so they would put some things, pull some stuff, so that the next programmer would have problems starting on time, right, and all of this and everything else. So, and then, or just complain to me about, that programmer is doing this and he's so bad, his show is this and that. And I used to tell him, I said, I think your show is really good. I don't think, but I think it could be a lot better. I don't think you should worry about that other guy. Don't you want him to, why are you worried about him? If you're worrying so much about him, he's going to end up doing a great program, and then you're going to be, because you're concentrating on him instead of concentrating on your program, trying to develop it, getting good interviews, and all of this. I said, just concentrate on yourself, and you'll see. I said, because, I want to be able to hear people calling in and saying, so-and-so's program is the best, and all of this. So, I did this whole thing that my mom used to do, and that's when a little kid, usually it was a little boy, because I have 5 brothers, but when my brothers would be jumping around and doing some stuff that wasn't nice, my mom would say, you're a good boy, and good boys don't jump on top of the sofa and run around, because you're a good boy, it's how they say, fake it till you make it, right? Fake it till you make it. And so that's what I ended up doing with the programmers. I kept saying, you're really good. Why are you worrying about that other guy? Focus on yours and blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, they sort of started focusing on that, because I'm hearing that, You may think he has a bad program, but I'm hearing that he's doing okay. So I want to hear the same thing from the listeners. Of course, no listeners was calling me about anybody. I was faking it till I make it. I mean, I keep saying those are, little lies that I hope I don't ever get into trouble in life. But anyway, I mean, it's that thing of, it's just sort of like, just trying to have them focus instead of, because I agree. Oh my God, they love drama. People, they love to, it's like, this is not a soap opera. This is a radio station. You know what I mean? But anyway.
Yeah, well,
so
sometimes
it works out.
Sometimes somebody's justified in being angry at what somebody else does. And so in a way, I can understand why they're angry, and I know they want to be heard, but then they, use that as ammunition to retaliate. It's the retaliation that's the problem. And then you find yourself giving ammunition for retaliation. And
yeah.
so like on one hand, I want to, be understanding if somebody is justifiably upset at how they're treated, but I don't want to give them ammunition. Because the whole thing is just like, yeah, we all make each other mad, it's just the way we are. Get used to it,
And can you give an example?
Well, one of our radio hosts, she wanted to record a concert, and so all our recorders had been lent out. So I asked another producer who keeps a recorder at home for what she does to lend it to her. And then the second person didn't bring it back when she said she would. And instead because she always does that. She's one of these people, she says she's going to do something and she never does it. It's just a thing. It's her thing. She never does what she says she'll do. And then she gives you a litany of excuses for why it didn't happen. And so she did that. And that's just like what she always does. And so then the person who didn't have her recorder, she got really, really mad. And, and so one was saying, well, I couldn't bring it to you because, I had to feed my children and I had to do this. And so then the other one is like starting to critique her as a mother, saying, well, you're a bad mother because you're feeding your children. And, and and then it just continued. And then of course, the more she criticized her, the more the other one wouldn't bring back the recorder out of retaliation. And there's just this huge fight over this recorder that went on for days and days and days, and it had nothing to do with the recorder, and so anyway, that's an example of recently. And of course, they're calling me at, 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, about this. And I don't want to hear it. So anyway, that's my example.
What would you do differently if the whole thing happened again?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't ask anybody to lend a first person a recorder because I know she's going to do that.
Yeah, because she has a pattern. So when people when people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, I probably just wouldn't. I would wait. I would tell her if there were no recorders available at the station, she just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I know that she's going to do that, and I know she'll bring back the recorder, but she'll first aggravate you. And I don't know. I'm not sure what I would do differently.
Yeah, and you really don't need the grief. You don't need the grief.
What?
You don't need the grief.
You can always charge a late fee.
Well, I feel bad for them. It was grief for me, but I just feel, the two really nice people, and maybe you're right, Alicia, maybe I should just keep telling them they're both really good people. They're both good people, but they both have habits that are very, very annoying, and you just have to learn to live with them, One has really bad temper and is really judgmental, and the other one never says what she says she's going to do. But they're both relatively harmless characteristics unless you start making a case out of it, and then it gets to be crazy,
You know, one thing too for me that we used to have internal problems really bad, and one of the things I finally said, and if somebody called me at 11 o'clock and I forget this shit, it better be that we're off the air. That's the only time I'll get a call from them. I would hang up and say, you know what, I don't want to hear this shit. But excuse me, but that's how I would say to them. So one of the things is that I said at one point at one meeting, I said, I'm going to say this because there used to be internal problems, like somebody was dating somebody and then they broke up and now they were with somebody. I said, you know what? I'm going to say this only once and I'm going to say it again. I do not want to hear any of this shit. And I said it in both languages, any of this. I don't care whether you can go outside and beat the shit out of each other. I do not care anything, but it does not have anything to do with the radio. You're not going to bring in this stuff, and that's all there's to it. You know what I mean? We're going to have unity here, whether you like it or not. I'm going to pull all of you for us to look at each other, and we are going to try to listen, but it has to relate to the radio. And in this situation, like you said, it's already gotten out of hand. And, and also when people come and complain to me about somebody else, I say, don't talk to me about it. You need to go directly to that person and deal with it. And please take it away from these four walls, please, please. And I say it real nicely. I mean, right now, they know that but I'm very nice. And they say, but it's like my ex-husband used to say, Alicia, you're one of those persons that by the time somebody comes, you yell at somebody and you say, F you. We always have to thank you. Kind of go, oh, sorry, okay, you're right. Because by then I try very nicely to tell you that, this is a way to go. But by the last time when I raise my voice, it's like, they know I'm done,
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that
maybe my mistake was taking a call at 11 o'clock at night. Maybe that.
Yeah, and it's not your fault. It's just that, we all learn. I mean, we all learn through that, it's that, but next time is to say, you know what, I'm sorry. I don't want to deal with this stuff right now. This is not my concern. You got to deal with this person and back and forth. And if you guys want to destroy each other in the process, go for it. I will just please give me notice so that I can start looking for two substitutes for you guys. Because after a while, if you carry it into the business, into the radio, I will have to, have you guys go off and have that fight. And whoever survives it and everything else makes it. But if not, I need to have notice so that I can start looking for two other programs.
Okay, I gotta go. I'm late for something, but thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Alicia, I did want to tell you that we got a call. We play classical tones.
Yes.
And we got a call recently from a business saying they love it and they play it in the store. So.
Oh, how wonderful. That's great. I'll let them know. Thank you so very much. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye. Take care. I hope your sister's okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Bye-bye. Okay, she's gone. Okay, well.
A question about, and I know I'm going to sound so ignorant about this, but I need to know. When you say skills you make, is that what that word? I know that seems like a word that I know what skills are, but in this case, it means that, in other words,
the app. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know why they named it the skill. But that's what they call it. And
okay.
you look under, just key in Alexa Blueprint Skills plus radio, and that university one will show up, and also the spiritual one. So
okay.
Those are the two. So some of them you can't insert the stream URL. So I know those two you can insert the stream URL.
Okay.
Because the spiritual one, a lot of churches use it, and the university one, they use it for classes and that sort of thing, and they do the stream URLs there. But it's just their nomenclature. That's all.
Okay.
It means the same thing as an application or an app.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I just wanted to clear that. Thank you.
I think that's the same in the app developer for the iTunes app. I think that you can, choices such as university and churches are good choices as well. Cause like Davine said, it has that link to the stream.
Mhm.
But great advice, Alicia. I love that on dealing with programmers. I mean, I've learned the hard way. I'm sure we all have. There's too much going on with running the management of the station and the technology and keeping yourself on air. You do not have time to get caught up in all that drama with all those DJs. And like everyone said, like it just attracts strong personalities and people that want to be heard. And, you know, you have to find a way to cut yourself off in a professional way and say, hey, yeah, keep that crap out of our business. You know, I think that's great advice.
And you know, one thing I wanted to tell people when I first started at board meetings, people would come because they didn't like the group that kind of took over during the elections. In other words, there was, of course, there's always opposition. And they would come to the board meetings and they would say, of course, in Spanish, they would be saying all these things, and I would be the one to translate. And so they would come and say, you know, Alicia she thinks she's everything in the community. She's nothing. She's this, and they would just put me down, and I would go da 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 da, and I would be writing that there, and then I would say, okay, after they finish, this is in public comment in a board meeting, and then I would translate it to the board, and I go, and when they're saying Alicia, they're referring to me, and she's saying that I'm worth nothing and that I don't do shit, blah, 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 whatever she said, right? And I would do that, and I would say it, and then I go, and then I would turn around to that person, and I say, thank you so much for your comment, and sit down, and that's it, right? I would not take it in. You know what I mean? I would not engage in everything else, and I made my board because I belong to a group that really had a lot of impact on me called Women in Black, where we have to stand in silence for 1 hour in total black. We're for peace in the world and against violence and all that. And that taught me to not respond, you know, when people are doing that, not to engage. And so what I did is I made the board, because the board would get up and start saying, how can you say that about Elisa, blah, 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 and, you know, and I said, no. I in a board meeting before, I said, in a session with the board, I said, we're going to be total silence. We're not ever going to respond. We're always going to say, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. And, you know, kind of just, like I said, that whole idea of not engaging, because I realized, and believe it or not, those people who used to badmouth me the most, that bore me, are now, you know, it makes me want to cry, but they're like the people who are the best volunteers. You know, they're the ones that I can call on now. Because after, and yeah, it may have taken 3 or 4 years, you know, I've been with the radio in this position for 10 years, as they realized that I had no self-interest except for love for the radio, and that's in the community. And that's what I told them. I know you love the community. You're such an incredible person in the community. People love you and everything else. And, you know, and so I did this whole thing of, you know, that Women in Black showed me that I had to respond with love. Even though, I tell you, being a peaceful person is a heck of a difficult job. You know? Being nonviolent is and you know, I'm the oldest. I have 5 brothers, and I was raised to be a powerful woman, and my brothers and everything. And they know that, you know, I don't take shit, and from not, you know, anyone. My dad taught me to not take shit from nobody. But I had, in my life, I learned that me coming on like this strong wasn't going to do anything. I had to just take back and let them know that, yeah, that's okay. I'm listening to you. You're angry at me. It's like I tell my sons, your perception is not reality, but it's your perception. And I have no business debating your perception. And I don't debate your perception. I just acknowledge it. Even though it's 100% wrong, it doesn't matter. I just have to. And it really took a lot. You know, now I'm really happy that we don't have those internal stuff right now, you know. And I told I told my programmers that you know, at the Zoom meeting that I was, you know, that I said, I hear from other radio station, and so it's like all of you guys are also great, and I'm so happy we don't have those problems anymore, and they're happy too, because I don't think they even wanted to get into that. People get sick of the drama after a while. I think even though they like it, but they get sick of it. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go on.
So would you say that when you talk about, like your dad taught you to not take shit, but you also acknowledge other people's perceptions. So would you say that what you are doing is saying what your boundaries are and what you will accept, but just in a way that's...
Well, I grew up, my father grew up very untraditional as a Mexican. My father was from Mexico, and he had powerful sisters and brothers, but my father had a great love for women, and he believed, and he treated my mother with ultimate respect and honor. But when I was very young, my father said, "You are not," I was pretty young, he goes, "No man is more important than you are. No man, except me." He said, "But one day I will not be important to you. I won't, I'll be, you will look at me as an equal, but he goes, one thing is you respect the man. You don't, put down the man and say, you're that, if you want respect from a man, you gotta also show that respect, but know that you're key. Women are the power. They're the wonderful power, and it's like, and whenever, and that's the way it is with me. It's that I honor my ex-husband, my husband right now, my 5 brothers, my 2 sons, but they know that I am key. I'm it, and they know that I treat them with such respect, and and any man that's around me, I treat them with respect, but I also know that my place in the world is that as a woman, I'm key. But that's because it got inserted in me by my dad so much that, and I saw how he treated my mother and other people, and that's that. But that is, you have to set boundaries, and you don't have to be, you don't go, I mean, it's not, I was brought up not to be arrogant about, like, I'm the key, none of that. You're quietly a powerful, each one of us as women, we're powerful. We walk, but we gotta respect our counterparts, and everyone, you just gotta treat people with respect. You cannot be arrogant and egotistic and like that. That's not right. Because then I feel like it's something morally wrong if you're that way, So anyway, that's the way I was brought up by my dad. I carry that.
Thanks for...
Sorry, I didn't mean to go into
appreciate it.
Are there any men here now? Is Vertical?
Joseph is here, and
Joseph.
Vertical is here.
I'm not seeing Joseph anymore.
Anyway, I see him.
Oh, there he is. I'm sorry. So here's what I have had to deal with is if you don't accept bullshit off of people or shit off of people, boy, they hate you. If that's not I think that people are so used to women taking shit off of people that when they run into a woman that doesn't take it, they're intimidated and they hate you because you didn't take their shit.
Yeah, but how important?
That's a common problem.
Yeah, no, but it's also how, to me, is that even if they don't, you really don't want to be around those people anyway. So, I mean, so that's okay that they don't like you. And
right.
Because in essence,
they don't. Complaining. I'm not complaining.
But yeah, no, they end up. Yeah, but it is true. They do come and say stuff, and because they feel intimidated. I mean, I've had some programmers, really say horrible things to me, and I mean, men really, just saying things and saying that I'm good for nothing and I don't have brains and I don't this and everything else, and I just stand and I don't debate. It's not. I'm not, that's your opinion of me, go forward and going out there in the world and do what, tell the world that, if you want to, but it's not going to affect me because, I don't even say to them, it's not true. I don't even say that. I just, okay, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for your input. Because I've had people do that, men come and say, now, can I sit with you, Alicia, and have a meeting with you? Because I want to tell you that if you just let me take over your job, I can get everything done like this. I can do it so quick, so much better than you and everything else. And I go, oh, thank you so much for your suggestion. And I said, if you're willing to give up your job, and do this 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to keep this radio alive, I gladly will pass it over to you. Do you want to set a time when I can pass over the ring to you? And that's it. And I said, but I really appreciate your thank you so much for your suggestions. And that's it. And I leave it at that. And even though, of course, trust me, in my head, 10 million things are going, it's not, I'm not perfect. I want to but it never comes out of my mouth. It stays here in my head and it doesn't get to my soul. That's all I can say. Only stays here. All the anger I feel and then it goes away.
There's lots of, there's more subtle ways too that it's impressive here that there are so many female station managers on the call. And I don't know how representative that is of the greater community, or it just happens to be where the ones are able to meet at this time. But that is very inspiring in terms of, especially radio. I mean, it's insane how many radio stations are owned by white men and how very few are owned by women or people of color. And so kudos to everybody here who's stepping out of that mold and breaking the picture into something totally new and different. And I think it brings a new, flavor to the radio stations as well. So it's great for the listeners. But I've definitely gotten a lot, there's some people who are going to come right out and let you know that they don't like that you're a woman and you're their boss. And then there's other people who are more subtle about it and do things like every time you send out an email, they're going to find the typos or the little things. And then they pick at you like that, like you're not so professional and you're not doing a good job. And it's hard to tell when that is, being on a woman, I can only get the female experience. And I don't know if they're doing that to other people that I know, or if it's just coming at me. But I definitely think I feel that because the times are changing and some people don't necessarily like that. But kudos to everybody here who is stuck with it. And it is, Alicia, like you say, it's just a matter of learning how not to let that affect you personally. Dealing with it in a strong way and recognizing it, but not engaging and not allowing it, to get into your mind. And that's much easier said than done, but something I'm learning.
Yeah. No, it's hard, but I think we can do it. We are doing it.
So I've been keeping track of how many women are on these calls, and the ratio of women to men is very, very high, and I find that very encouraging. And the other thing I would say about dealing with adversity and people angry at you because you had the temerity to speak your mind is my husband, who's sitting here, he likes to, here's his hand. So my husband likes to sit in on these conferences because it's an easy way for him to learn about the station. And so he's always here, and so he's always listening and gathering and appreciating what everybody gives in their feedback. But he is great because I have a warrior woman side of me that goes back to the fact that my ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War, and they've been warriors ever since, and I inherited it in my blood. So he is great about directing me to not get down there and start fighting with people. So he goes, you're a fine lady. You don't have to get down there and muck around in the mud with that person. So he's a wonderful support and helps keep me grounded and save me from my warrior woman self. So it does help. It does help to have someone in your life that understands the stresses that you're under and will help keep you in balance.
Well, here,
Here.
I have to say, I'm really
No,
fortunate.
that's what
There he is.
yeah.
It is. So I have to say, I'm super fortunate. Everybody is so respectful, and it's really great. They really listen. It's wonderful to sit down when I'm teaching them and them to come back having used the tools and having listened to me. I think it's really, because we're very small, but I really am very fortunate that everybody is so respectful. I mean, even the staff of the TV station, it's just the whole feeling, the whole atmosphere. Everybody's really respectful, and I never have to be tough with anybody. And there are a couple of people I back off on who are a little hot-headed. As long as I don't talk to them about politics, we're okay. But aside from that, they're really great, respectful, and actually just appreciative that we're there, and then I'm letting them have shows. So because I made it clear that I don't have to have them on the air. That's my choice. If you behave badly, you're out. And it's nice to have that I guess power to be able to dictate, if you behave, you're appreciated, and if you're not, you're out of there.
well, it sounds like you know your boundaries too.
Sometimes that's when I've seen the worst of it, though, when we've had to let a DJ go or something, that it gets really nasty, especially on social media. And, people don't want to take responsibility for their own actions.
Exactly.
And so they, try to make up all kind of reasons why you made this situation happen. Even if there's like totally obvious things like, like cussing on air or something, and suddenly it's like my fault, that all this happened. So. And then I've just seen really nasty stuff that I don't necessarily think someone would have thrown at a man. But again, I'm not totally sure, but it does often feel that way.
Maybe that's the first time that they've had to have consequences for their actions, or that just happened to be at your doorstep.
Yeah.
It's an interesting world, let me tell you, this radio business. People get so much of their personalities wrapped up in their radio show, I think that's the thing. And if you have to take that away from them, it's like taking away a part of their personality. And so they get really, desperate and, a little bit crazy. So I hate to have to do it.
That's interesting, yeah.
But sometimes it really, for the good of the longevity of the station, and the culture of the station, it has to happen sometimes. But that's definitely, I'd say, the hardest part of my job.
Yeah.
Remember whenever this came up about 6 weeks ago, and I think you mentioned it, and it was something that Ursula said, that give them more responsibility and less praise.
Yes.
Now we've had to, anytime you can make it their fault without telling them that it's their fault, then they have less of ammunition to fire at you on social media. But you have to be shrewd and figure out how to make it on them that they're going to go away somehow. If they make the decision, then they're not quite as prone to go on Facebook and smear you all over the place.
I agree, absolutely. If you can get them to step away, it will save you a lot of anxiety and social, media issues. It's true.
I swear to God. Okay. Now you can hear me? Okay. Have you had that happen where where you had a situation where you were able to kind of make it feel like it was their choice to leave? Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's in our policies that, I can hint to them that, hey, you're missing a number of shows, and how can we get it to where you're more consistent? Because our policy is that you can't miss 20% of your shows, more than 20% of your shows in a year. And some of those have to be emergencies. How can we make it better? And then if they tell me, I can start showing up more, but then they don't, then they know that they're not pulling their part. They're not carrying their weight. So that's so basically I try to do it with policies. I throw the policies at them, and I know whenever someone comes in to sign up to to be on the radio, we have 5 or 6 different forms that they have to read through and sign. And I know they don't read it all, but it's there for me. It covers my ass. And whenever a problem arises, I can go back to the strict policies and the FCC rules and how awful it would be if we lose our license because you're not following the agreement that you signed.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, and I've done things like just the old-fashioned cold shoulder while you're down at the radio station. Just, they're there and you're just totally business, having very little interaction. It makes them kind of uncomfortable when they're in the radio station. And that's hard for me to do because I'm usually pretty friendly, but, in certain instances, they've brought it upon themselves. And I think they get to feeling that, and then suddenly it's not really a place they want to be coming to. So, I don't know. It's just, and then the whole thing about just giving them more work and less appreciation, give them more tasks, more things to do, kind of overwhelm them. And then they do it, instead of saying thank you, say, okay, it's hard not to, right? But just say, okay, now can you do this for me? And just keep piling that on, and they get less and less appreciation and more work. And nobody wants a situation like that. It doesn't last very long.
So when you do that, does that mean that you just keep adding work until they want to quit?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And there's always more work.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to leave. I have another 1:30 with our program director of programming. But one thing, that he said that I want us to, as women here, and also our brother here, the 2 brothers that are still on the thing about it is, I think, is that the director Edgar one day said, the reason you say you're surrounded by wonderful men is because it's you that's wonderful, Alicia, and we get drawn to you. So I always feel that that's all of us as human beings. It's what you were talking about, boundaries, but we surround ourselves, with people, and when somebody's hating us, as my son used the word, hating us, as long as we don't engage in that, we don't, we end up being able to, because when you look around, like you were saying, Elizabeth, you have a group of people, that you're the people around you, they respect you. I think all of us, in the majority, it's always that one person that, kind of spoiled. But when you think about it, the majority we are surrounded by wonderful people, and that's because in many ways, it's like my mom said, you have to compliment yourself once in a while, because we're our worst enemy, but we don't compliment ourselves. And my mom used to say, compliment yourself, compliment yourself. Because the first time she did that, she said, I'm a good mother. You guys, you did so well. He told my brother, you did really, really good. But oh my goodness, you know why you did so well? Because I'm a good mother. And we were like shocked at her. How can she be so? Oh my God, our mother is being arrogant. And we looked at her, and she goes, no, I'm saying that you have to say when you've done a good job and you're a great person. You did great to my brother, because I think I also did good and I have to say that to keep myself going and being. So he in life always say compliment yourself, and I think we're all really great people, and we're doing good, and we have to once in a while say that, because sometimes it does it gets hard being where we're at, and we think about all the things that we're going through and still maintaining a radio station, going. So we all, anyway, I love being around all of you.
Oh, same.
Brothers and sisters, you're all powerful, and I'm so happy to be part of this group. So
And that
thank
sounds
you
like
so
good
much.
advice too. I think that's a good practice. I agree. Thanks for
Okay,
joining
thank you.
us.
And I love you all, and I will see you next week, I hope.
Doing great,
Take
Alicia.
care. See you next time.
Great job, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I gotta head off too, but thanks for that idea to compliment ourselves. And so compliments to all of you guys. It's a lot of fun and it's great, but it's a lot of hard work. So way to go for keeping it going.
Okay,
Here.
great.
You guys next week.
See you guys
to our
next
brother
time.
Miracle, I hope he's there.
He's still there.
Okay.
He's
And I
sticking
know
with us.
Joseph left. And your husband too, for a wonderful man. Take care.
Bye-bye.